All right, New York Giants fans, this is Tim with All Big Blue, bringing you the best of New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. I had to check the paper to make sure we didn't sign anyone else today. I wasn't sure if they signed Johnny Unitas. I figure because, you know what, we have the cap space, so why not? Oh, it's interesting. The cap space is interesting. But you know what, we're not going to talk about that. I did want to talk about something because I had a little bit of case of deja vu yesterday. And I did want to talk about something because I had a little bit of a case of deja vu yesterday. I'm just joking. All right. I had some interesting comments about all these signings. And I thought about it, too. It does remind me of 2016. It reminds me, and 100%. And a lot of people pointed that out in the comments. And I got a lot of good emails and a couple DMs on Twitter. In 2016, Jerry Reese spent over $200 million in free agency to revitalize the Giant defense. He also signed Jason Pierre-Paul to a one-year deal, and then he brought in Janoris Jenkins, Olivier Vernon, and he also brought in, of course, Snacks Harrison. People also forget he brought in Keenan Robinson and Leon Hall. So he spent all this cash and he revamped the defense. He basically bought a playoff appearance for one season. And with the hopes that these players would excel into a longevity of at least a couple more playoff appearances. And I think we all know what happened after that. And this is kind of what I've been talking about. The following season, of course, we dropped down to 3-13. The next season, we all know what happened. We all know what happened in 18. And then all of a sudden, Gettleman comes in, and we are in salary cap purgatory. And these are the things that I was trying to point out the last couple days. From a football perspective, and I've said it a million times, these are good moves. Anytime you can bring in a quality player and add more quality talent to your roster, it's a good move. But, and as my friend Dominic from across the pond likes to say, and that's a plug for New York Giants from across the pond and Pack, which is now on iTunes, the Google Store, and all of the places you can find podcasts, where we talk specifically about the Giants. Shameless plug there. But as I was saying to him, the chickens or the Eagles one day are going to have to come home to roost. And that bill is going to be due. So it's great that we don't care about it now, and I'm fine with that. But let's see, let's keep our fingers crossed that 2-3 years down the road, that 2016 season is not going to be the benchmark. And then we don't want to go revert back to 2017, 2018, 2019 and beyond. But let's talk about the Giants draft. Oh, I said this a lot because people are like, who are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick? And I've been hearing this for months now. Since the end of the season. And I keep saying to people, you cannot make an accurate assessment who you should take in the draft until after free agency. It's just plain and simple because you don't know what you're going to do in free agency. And I did a couple of videos of players that, if they were available, would the Giants take them or would they take one of the 3 wide receivers? Blah, 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 blah. And I did a video back a couple weeks ago about Gregory Rousseau. And my feeling is now, after seeing what the Giants have done in free agency, that Mr. 305 is probably an excellent option for this team if you do not go offensive lineman. Because with all the players that we brought in still, you need to keep Daniel Jones upright, and there are a lot of question marks still on this line. But one of the other glaring weaknesses that we have on defense is an outside rush. Now, a lot of people are going to sit there and tell me, well, Tim, you don't know anything because Gregory Rousseau, man, most of his sacks came from the inside and most of his pressures came from the inside. All right. And he only had one season. Those are all valid points. But if you look at him from an athletic standpoint alone, he's a phenomenal specimen. He has the strength. He has the speed. He has the size. He has the wingspan. He reminds me of a player that used to be referred to as the Freak, and who had a wingspan of 7'3", and he played for the Tennessee Titans, drafted by the Tennessee Titans. A lot of Florida fans aren't going to like it that I'm comparing a Miami guy All right, yeah, to a Florida guy. But you know what? And I'll let people. I'm not even gonna tell you that player who that player is. I want people to go look him up. But that's who he reminds me of. And when the Freak came out back in the 90s, he had that first season that he had. And I'll give you a hint. He was drafted in 1999, the first round, the 16th pick overall to the Tennessee Titans. He came out and had a monster rookie season, a monster season. Now, I'm not saying that that's what our old buddy Gregory Rousseau is going to turn into, but I'm telling you, if you have an offense, if you believe so much in Leonard Williams, you are going to hope and understand that he is going to draw a massive amounts of double teams because he is going to be the guy on the line now that you got rid of Dalvin Tomlinson. Dalvin Tomlinson's really plugged up the middle. So Leonard Williams is going to have to not only fill the role of plugging up the middle, supporting the run, and generating a pass rush. Those are things that he's going to have to do. What's going to need to happen is if you are having people then focus their offense on Leonard Williams, that's going to open up for whoever's on the outside. And then my other thought process was Leonard Williams was not an every down player. He wasn't. He didn't play. You looked at Blake Martinez. You looked at Logan Ryan. You looked at James Bradbury. They play 100% of the snaps. You know, Leonard was in the 70s and the 80s. So who are you going to use to spell Leonard Williams to still generate that inside pass rush? Well, you got a perfect guy in Gregory Rousseau. Because if you're going to sit there and tell me that the only time that he can get to the quarterback is if he's generating an inside pass rush by going over the center, well, he could fill right in for Leonard Williams. And Rousseau's biggest issue is, of course, how raw he is. And the fact that in college, he relied on his physical skills and his physical abilities to excel. And he's not going to get away with that 100% of the time in the pros because everyone's going to be strong, big, and fast. But the problem is he's also, I think in some ways, he's a little bit stronger, bigger, and faster than some people think. And like I said, I don't think the league has seen the likes of him since the 1999 draft. And I know that's a big, that's high praise and that's a high level and that's a high bar. But if you think about it, he does kind of have a parallel to that player. Like I said, we're not going to mention who that player is. I think we're going to do a contest. We're going to see how many people listen this far into the video. If you could be the first one on the comment section to leave who that player was in 1999, I will send you an online Big Blue polo shirt. And I don't want to say anything, but they are awesome, like me. So whoever that first person is can mention who that player is, you're going to get an online Big Blue shirt. But like I said, to me, Gregory Rousseau fills the need. He fills the need as a player that can generate a rush from the outside, and he fills the need of being able to come in and spell Leonard Williams. And with the increased talent that you added to the secondary, if Jackson is 100% healthy, there should be more time. And we got a lot of coverage sacks last year. So I would hope that we would have the same amount of coverage sacks as we had last year, this year coming up. Now, I want everyone that is overly excited about these signings to just think a moment. A lot of these players are going to take time to gel. And I did this I was mentioning on Big Pat Sports yesterday. What's going to happen is there's going to be a 3-game, in my opinion, there would be a 3-game learning curve at the beginning of the season. And there always is, especially when you're bringing in new players. And all these players are going to have to adjust to each other and figure out what each person's tendencies are and where they're going to be on the field. And you're not going to get that all in training camp. It's not till you get out onto the field. So if the Giants start the season 1-2, 0-3. I don't think they would, but who knows? Because, like I say, we can't. Everyone's undefeated in March. But if they start the season with a losing record, everyone who is excited now is going to turn against these guys for those couple weeks. And when they start playing well again, then they're going to jump back on the bandwagon. But I'm just going to tell you, be patient. Allow the team to gel together and work together and figure each other out on the field. And then you know what? You will be a much happier fan and then being so upset when they don't start the season out to the point that you feel they should be starting the season out at, because it will take time. You can't add a large number of pieces and a large number of essential pieces to your team and not expect there to be a high learning curve. And again, this is Tim Online Big Blue, bringing you the best in New York Giants sports talk and entertainment. And as always, if you can like, if you can subscribe, if you ring that bell, I think that means that'd be awesome.